Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
Now we begin the English language transmission from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Here is Mr. Covers, South Gender English song. President Lee covers son of General Kim Jong-il. Respected Kim Jong-il, First Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, First Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, gave field guidance to the construction site of the terminal of the Pyongyang International Airport. He was accompanied by Vice Marshal of the Korean People's Army Hwang Byung-so, Director of the General Political Bureau of the Army, and Lieutenant General Ma Won-chun, Director of the Designing Department of the National Defense Commission. After hearing an explanation before the board's idea, development figures, and iconography of the building, Kim Jong-un looked around the exterior and interior of Terminal Number 2 to get familiar with the construction. He said the soldier builders are promoting the second terminal project well as intended by the party. He likes it, and they have done a lot of work and put forward tasks and ways to finish the project. Saying the terminal of the Pyongyang International Airport is like a gateway to Pyongyang on the face of the country. He stressed the need to build a second terminal into the structure of the era of the Workers' Party, becoming to the appearance of a highly civilized socialist nation in view of architectural form and content. Noting that it is important to thoroughly preserve the Choche character in architecture too, he instructed that the terminal should be finished to preserve national character while following the world trend and introducing good points of other countries. He underscored the need to build the halls of arrival and procedures for departure, waiting hall before departure, lobby, interview, and dining rooms, and the others perfectly in view of architectural beauty and formatively and artistically, while ensuring convenience of the passengers on the highest level. Kim Jong-un stressed the need to furnish all facilities of the second terminal with modern ones, build service facilities in a peculiar way, and make good preparations for kind of service activities from now, and took structural measures and presented specific tasks and ways to improve service activities. He also underscored the need to build more service facilities, including hotel and bus stops around the terminal, and forcefully push ahead with the work to facelift the surroundings of the Sunan area with the terminal. Saying the party is especially concerned for the construction of the second terminal of the Pyongyang International Airport, Kim Jong-un expressed the belief that the soldier builders would carry out the planned project qualitatively and thus perfectly build the terminal into a monumental structure of the Sangam era.
Respected Kim Jong-un, First Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, First Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, guided again the tactical rocket launching exercise of the Western Front striking units of the strategic force of the Korean People's Army on the spot. The launching exercise was conducted with a combination of sudden maneuver and fire strike so as to assess and check up actual war capacity of the Western Front striking units of the strategic force. He was accompanied by Hwang Byung-seo and other senior officials of the party and army. Kim Jong-un learned in detail on the spot about the launching plan mapped out by the staff of the strategic force, the set flight orbit and blockade of the target waters, and gave an order to launch tactical rockets. Through the tactical rocket launching exercise of the Western Front striking units of the strategic force of the Korean People's Army, reminiscent of a real war, the heat and combat power of our tactical rockets were fully demonstrated once again, the order of combat action and the fire task of the unit in case of emergency correctly defined, and the methods of firing at different enemy targets completed. Kim Jong-un expressed great satisfaction over the fact that the current tactical rocket launching exercise was successfully conducted with a combination of prompt maneuver in line with the demand of the modern warfare, and gave important instructions on combat preparations of the strategic force and application of Juche-based rocket launching tactics. He said, "We should be ready both for wars and action. No matter how honest-minded and just we may be, we can be the bargaining for the strong, and the precious history which has been defended at the cost of our blood be spoiled in an instant if we are weak." Kim Jong-un expressed a firm belief that the units of the strategic force would further intensify preparations for action in the field of rocket through exercises like a real war as today, and constantly keep a posture of immediate launching in the future too, and thus neutralize the reckless confrontation frenzy of the enemy persistently trying to suffocate the DPRK by force of strength with powerful military deterrent force.
Respected Kim Jong-un received the message from Zhuganov, chairman of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, on the air on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader Kim Il-sung. The message said, "Kim Il-sung is the founder of the Workers' Party of Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and its armed forces. He performed precious feats in building a modern state and achieving successes in all fields of life in the DPRK, including industry, public health, science, education, and sports, and set forth historic proposals for independent and peaceful reunification of the country." The message expressed the belief that the Korean people would continue to successfully build a social society true to the behest of Kim Il-sung. It paid respects to Kim Jong-un.
Respected Kim Jong-un's revolutionary activities were reported abroad between the 3rd and the 6th. The news of his guidance of the island landing combat exercise of the ground, naval, air, and anti-aircraft forces of the Korean People's Army was reported by the Chinese Xinhua News Agency, Reference News, Hong Kong newspaper South China Morning Post, Central Television, People's Network, Broadcasting Network, Global Network, Youth Network, Economic Network, Guangming Network, and China Network. The Russian Interfax, Interfax News Agency, NTV Television, newspaper Rossiyskaya Gazeta, and Internet News Rosbalt, the Iranian Press Television and Radio, the Syrian Arab News Agency and Central Television, the Japanese Kyodo News and GZ Press, the Lebanese newspaper Al-Jumhuriyah, the British newspaper Telegraph, the U.S. Internet newspaper Global Post, the Chilean television, the Philippine website Repula. and the internet homepage of the Communist Party of Brazil, Vermelho. The Mongolian newspaper Urban Sonin and the Vietnamese internet news VN Express and Vietnam Net reports the news that respect to the Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un guided a training for assessing the swimming ability of commanding personnel of the Navy of the Korean People's Army. The internet homepage of the Nigerian National Committee for the Study of Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism, blogged along with the aforesaid news, the news of his inspection of the Far Island Defense Detachment defending the front post on the east coast, and the news of his guidance of the tactical rocket launching exercise of the strategic force of the Korean People's Army. Media of China, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Chile, Brazil, Mongolia, and Vietnam carried his photographs.
The steady publishing house of the Democratic Congo brought out in booklet respected Kim Il-sung's famous work, "The Great Kim Il-sung is the eternal leader of our party and our people." The publishing ceremony took place in the conference hall of the Working Citizens Association of the Democratic Congo on the 2nd.
Memorial meetings, photo and book exhibitions, and film shows recently took place in Myanmar, Benin, Nigeria, Slovakia, the Democratic Congo, and Malaysia on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader Kim Il-sung. A message to respect to Kim Jong-un was adopted at the event held in Benin. Meanwhile, press statements were issued by First Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Chile, Proletarian Action, and Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress of Ghana on the 4th on the same occasion.
Foreign mass media recently featured the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader Kim Il-sung. The Lao newspaper Phongpap Pasasam Lao, the Thai newspaper Shinsung Daily, and the Myanmar newspaper The New Age carried special write-ups illustrated with portraits of a smiling Kim Il-sung. The Bangladesh newspaper Bangla Times carried articles on his exploits under different titles including Great Man of the Century, and the Nepalese newspaper Arupan, an article of its editorial board under the title In Memory of the Great Leader. The websites of the Brazilian Committee for Solidarity with the DPRK and the Anti-Imperialist Forum of Germany posted portraits of a smiling Kim Il-sung and motion pictures on his revolutionary activities. The Nigerian National Committee for the Study of Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism, the Pro-Korea Institute of Culture and Friendship, the Swiss Korean Committee, and the Swiss Group for the Study of the KK Idea blogged on their websites articles of different titles, including Kim Il-sung, his brilliant name. The director of the Korean Institute of Independent Ideology in the United States released an article praising Kim Il-sung for his achievements, and the Society for Cooperation Among Koreans in Germany blogged an article on its internet homepage on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of his demise.
An event of yearning, loyalty, and pledge, the Sum of Juche Will Be Eternal, was held at the hall of Korea University under the General Association of Korean Residents in Japan on July the 7th, on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader Generalissimo Kim Il-sung. Present there were teachers and students of the university.
Kim Yong-nam, Park Bong-ji, and the members of the State Funeral Commission and officials of the party, armed forces, and government organs, working people's organizations, ministries, national agencies, institutions in the field of defense industry, and party and government institutions in Pyongyang visited the bier of the late General of the Korean People's Army, Chun Byung-ho, honorary curator of the Museum of Arms and Equipment of the Korean People's Army, and expressed condolences over his death. Seen before the bier of the deceased was a wreath sent by respected Kim Jong-un. Wreaths were laid in the name of the Central Committee and the Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea, the National Defense Commission, the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly, and the Cabinet of the DPRK, the General Political Bureau, and the General Staff of the Korean People's Army, the Ministry of the People's Armed Forces, working people's organizations, ministries, national agencies, institutions in the field of defense industry, and party and government organs and factories in Pyongyang. Amid the playing of dash, the mourners observed the moment of silence in memory of the late Chun Byung-ho. and expressed deep sympathy to the bereaved family members of the deceased.
The state funeral for the late Chun Byung-ho, General of the Korean People's Army and Honorary Curator of the Museum of Arms and Equipment of the Korean People's Army, was held in Pyongyang on Thursday. Present there were Kim Yong-nam, Jang Byung-seo, and other members of the State Funeral Commission, officials of the Heart and Armed Forces organs, the cabinet and institutions of defense industry, officials of the Pyongyang City Party Committee, and bereaved family members of the deceased. The members of the State Funeral Commission and the bereaved family members observed a moment's silence in memory of the late Chun Byung-ho. Amid the playing of the dirge, the bier of the deceased was carried out. The hearse arrived at the Patriotic Martyrs Cemetery. The Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army was lining up. The ceremony was held to bid last farewell. After the national anthem patriotic song was played, a condolatory address was made by General of the Korean People's Army Hyun Young-chol, Minister of the People's Armed Forces. Amid the playing of the dirge and firing of volley for the dead, the remains of the deceased were laid to rest. The wreath sent by respected Kim Jong-un was laid before his tomb. Placed there were wreaths of different institutions, including the Central Committee and the Central Military Commission of the Workers' Party of Korea, the National Defense Commission, the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly, and the Cabinet of the DPRK, the General Political Bureau and General Staff of the Korean People's Army, and the Ministry of the People's Armed Forces. The participants paid a silent tribute to the memory of the late Chun Byung-ho.
Kim Yong-nam, President of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, sent a message of greetings to Sayagin El-Baghdad, President of Mongolia, on Thursday, on the occasion of the 93rd anniversary of the victory of the People's Revolution in Mongolia. The message expressed a belief that the traditional and excellent relations of friendship and cooperation between the two countries would be further expanded and developed day by day, thanks to their great active efforts, and wish the friendly Mongolian people greater progress and prosperity.
DPRK Premier Park Sung-ju sent a message of greetings to Norobin Alpanhoyage, Prime Minister of Mongolia, on Thursday, on the occasion of the 93rd anniversary of the victory of the People's Revolution in Mongolia. The message wished the Prime Minister and the government of Mongolia greater success in their work for the development and prosperity of the country. That day, DPRK Foreign Minister Lee Soo-young sent a message of greetings to Lopsan Wandan Ginbol, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade of Mongolia, on the same occasion.
Wreaths were laid before the bronze statue of Kim Hyung-sik, an indomitable revolutionary fighter and outstanding leader of the anti-Japanese National Liberation Movement of Korea in Pongpari, Gangdong County, Pyongyang, and his tomb in Mangyongdae on Thursday, on the occasion of his 120th birth anniversary. Seen before the statue and tomb were the wreaths sent by respected Kim Jong-un. Present at the wreath-laying ceremonies were Kim Yong-nam, Park Bong-ju, and other senior officials of the party, state, and army, chairperson of the friendly party, officials of the party, armed forces, and government institutions, working people's organizations, ministries, and national agencies, service persons of the Korean People's Army, working people, and school youth and children. Wreaths were placed there in the name of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly and the Cabinet of the DPRK, and in the name of the working people's organizations, ministries, national agencies, units of the Korean People's Army, institutions of education, public health, and the press, Pyongyang City Party and government institutions, enterprises, firms, and so on. The participants observed a moment of silence, looking back on the brilliant revolutionary life and fighting achievements of Kim Hyung-sik. That day, wreaths, bouquets, and flowers were also laid before his bronze statues at the Kim Hyung-sik Military Medical University and in Saksu County of North Pyongan Province and Kimgang County of Sagan Province.
A presentation of scientific and technological successes was held in Pyongyang on the 9th and the 10th to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Light Industrial Science branch of the State Academy of Sciences. It was sponsored by the Central Committee of the General Federation of Science and Technology of Korea. Presented there were more than 330 papers showing recent successes in light industry, and exhibited there were over 60 scientific and technological materials in multimedia and other forms, together with products. The result of examination was announced, and the certificates and prizes were awarded to highly estimated participants at the closing ceremony.
A seminar under the theme of Investing in Young People was held at the Daedonggang Diplomat Club in Pyongyang on the occasion of the Day of World Population. Present there were officials of the public health institutions, ministries, national institutions, and working people's organizations, and members of the missions of the UN Population Fund, the World Health Organization, and other international organizations in Korea. The Population Institute issued a special number of bulletins, Population News, on the occasion of the day.
Families of overseas Koreans related to the revolutionary activities of President Kim Il-sung visited his birthplace Mangyongdae and the Revolutionary Martyrs Cemetery on Mount Daesung. They also visited the Miriam Riding Club, the Munsu Water Park, and so on. And that's the end of the news, read by Kim Hyun-ok and Choi Sung-nam. This is Voice of Korea.
Here is the female soul in Bangtan, Warm Feelings. Viceroy near Sixth Proclamation. And now, you enjoy the song We Will Go a Long Way, following the leader in the party, created in Suche 71 or 1982. Samir carries forward to the final victory. Youth and population issue. July the 11th is the day of world population. The UN Population Fund declared July the 11th every year as the day of world population at its Executive Council meeting held in 1978 or 1989 to commemorate the birth of the 5 billions of the world population on July the 11th, 1976 or 1987. Today, the population issue is one of the important issues of worldwide concern. According to data, the world population was 5 billion in 1987 and exceeded 7 billion in 2012. And it is expected to be more than 9 billion toward 2050. The UN Population Fund sets the theme of the Day of World Population every year and conducts various activities for the settlement of the population issue. The theme of the day this year is investing in young people. At present, the number of the youth and children between 10 and 24 is 1,800 million, or a quarter of the world population. In any society, young people are in the center of the social development, and it is important for the development of not only the family and society, but also the country, to provide the youth with a qualitative education and medical service and job conditions. The youth issue is being fully solved in Democratic People's Republic of Korea amid the concern of the party and government. Young people are regarded as flowers of the country and nation. The education and medical service for the youth are reliably guaranteed by the universal 12-year free compulsory education system, well-organized higher education system, and free medical care system. It's extracurricular educational bases for youth and resorts for their cultural life have been built in scenic spots. The youth are provided with sufficient conditions to work according to their aptitude and hope when they're at working age. So the Korean youth are firmly preparing themselves as good pillars to shape the future of the country and nation. And they are leading a fruitful life as youth heroes, young scientists, and labor innovators at all points of national defense and the building of a prosperous nation. The DPRK will, in the future too, make an active contribution to the settlement of the population issue through strengthening the cooperation with the UN Population Fund and other international organizations. So far, you've been listening to an account under the title Youth and Population Issue. This is Voice of Korea.
U.S. domination system shaken. The Japanese Kyoto News and other foreign reports recently said the United States puts pressure on South Korea not to take part in the establishment of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which is promoted by China and other Asian countries. According to them, in June last, the United States opposed South Korea's involvement in the establishment of the bank, threatening that it would exert a negative influence on the bilateral relations. The United States also demanded that the new bank cannot display its ability as the Asian Development Bank led by it. It shows that establishment of the new bank led by China is another blow of the U.S. domination system over the Asia-Pacific region. At the same time, it proves that the uneasy United States makes reckless efforts to keep its domination system in the region. The United States has already designated China as a latent adversary and intensified its dominationist offensive against China and the whole of Asia-Pacific region. Besides, it schemes to involve its satellite forces, including South Korea, in its alliance and have them at its back, so as to use them as a shock brigade in a war of aggression in case of contingency. Just at the time, China has proposed establishing the investment bank, and many countries joined it. It is a strike to the United States, which has so far enforced its monetary and financial domination over the region with such economic means as the Asian Development Bank. Especially, South Korea's interest in the establishment of the bank may make the unstable alliance of the United States more nominal. Confused by it, the United States is pressurizing its junior ally and making desperate efforts, talking this or that about the capability of the bank. So South Korea, which has to read the faces of both the United States and China, finds itself in dilemma, foreign reports comment. It is an irresistible trend of the times today to call for multipolarization in challenge to the brigandist unipolar domination of the United States. Despite vicious obstructions of the United States, more and more countries and regions are joining in the establishment of the new bank. Preparations, including procurement of funds, are sped up with a target to officially inaugurate the bank in late 2014 or early 2015. The Chinese Hong Kong Takunpao and other foreign media comment that the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is aimed at resisting the U.S. and Japan-led domination systems, including the Asian Development Bank. It is as clear as noonday that in case the new bank starts its formal business, the dark tentacles of the United States stretched to the region will be impotent so much, and the contradictions between China and the United States further aggravated. The infrastructures of the United States for world domination are shaken to the foundation. Unbiased public comments that the United States should clearly see the present times in which its domination and subjugation cannot work any longer. You've been listening to an account under the title, U.S. Domination System Shaken. This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, with this, we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,105 kHz. and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kilohertz and 13,650 kilohertz. For Middle East and Northern Africa between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kilohertz and 11,645 kilohertz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kilohertz and 11,635 kilohertz. For Southern Africa between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 7,210 kilohertz and 11,910 kilohertz. And for Central and South Americas between 4 and 5 hours UTC on 11,735 kilohertz, 13,760 kilohertz, and 15,180 kilohertz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kilohertz and 15,180 kilohertz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.